I question why we're afraid to die if we know that living forever wouldn't be all that great either.
I think dying early is what people are more afraid of than just dying in general, because I feel like they'd want to live a certain amount of life and have done a couple amount of things, rather than them getting to 90.
I think the beautiful thing about good things is that they end. If a good thing never ends, then you'd have no reason to be grateful for it.
Do you guys think immortality would ruin life? So you could live forever. You think that would ruin life?
For sure.
How comes?
Like, you're just not meant to live forever here. Like, I'll be real. Like, there's... I think I saw a clip like this ages ago as well. Like, you basically just go through this never-ending cycle of, like, seeing all your family and friends die. Like, they pass on, you stay, you make new friends. It just stays on. Like, depending on how your body would work and how your mind would work, I just think, like, especially when you get to, like, for example, let's say 90 years old, 100 years old, a lot of your body starts to break down because that's what it's naturally supposed to do. If it was now changed to say your body acclimatized or your mind was the same age, maybe like 25 or 30 for the rest of your life on your body, it goes back to kind of the purpose thing. I just feel unless everything changes about you and you're built to live forever, like if we just live forever as we do now, like you're frozen in time at 25, but everything else goes on, like I think you just become miserable. Like you don't, there's not an end to it. Imagine like you're going through all this suffering, seeing all your friends die, family die, like you see the world change. Like, what's the point? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's me, basically.
What do you think?
I think the beautiful thing about good things is that they end. And if a good thing never ends, then you'd have no reason to be grateful for it. You would acclimatize or get used to that thing to the point where you wouldn't even know what life would be without it. Like, we're not grateful for breathing because we always breathe, but we're grateful for it, or we miss it when we have a blocked nose.
Facts, yeah. You start hearing those sniffles, you're like, oh man.
Yeah.
But the longer that you have something, and you see it happens so quickly. It happens so quickly with humans. You have a terrible illness, and the only thing you care about in that moment is solving that illness. Nothing else matters to you. You don't care if your podcast is growing. You don't care about, I don't know, gym progress.
No, that's true. I remember I caught you know that superfood that was going around back in December. I caught that, and I just couldn't even go gym anymore. And I was like, what is life anymore?
So the one issue there becomes your health. That's the only thing you're focused on. But then once you're okay, you might think to yourself, oh, I'm so glad I'm not ill anymore. 2-3 days go by. You don't care.
Yeah.
We are very quick at getting used to the things that are good to us. And I think life in general, what gives life meaning is that it ends.
Yeah.
And if that didn't happen, what would be the point of doing anything? Like, you could argue that, okay, you've lived this immortal life and you have so many things. Like, maybe you could front load everything, right? First couple of like thousands of years, you might do everything that could possibly be done. And maybe you can offset that suffering. Like, maybe you're like, okay, I don't really care if everyone keeps dying. I'm just going to do everything that's possible. At some point, you would have done everything. Like, you are infinite, but the world isn't.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
No, I feel like what I find interesting about this question is, I think when most people answer it, they do say, they wouldn't want to be immortal. They feel like living forever, that would be a miserable life at some point. But then my next question is, and you guys can disagree with me, but I think most of us are afraid to die. And based on what everyone said, I question why we're afraid to die if we know that living forever wouldn't be all that great either.
I think it depends at kind of what age though. I think everyone's kind of afraid to die, like because of maybe the painful way that it could happen for whatever. Just that fear of the unknown kind of thing. People might not know what's going to happen after. Some of them don't care. But like, I think dying early is what people are more afraid of than just dying in general. Because I feel like they'd want to live a certain amount of life and have done a couple amount of things, rather than them getting to 90. I think if you get to 90, a lot of people just accept, they're like, do you know what?
Do you think you'd actually be okay, like, if you got to 80, 90, whatever the life expectancy is, when it gets to that point and you know the end is coming, like, do you feel like you'd actually be okay, like, ready to go?
More okay than now, for sure.
Okay,
100%. Yeah, like, I'm not saying you're gonna be 100% like
Yeah.
There's even quotes that I've heard aunties say, like, everyone wants to get to heaven, no one wants to die, kind of thing
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
It's kind of like that. But I think, yeah, if you're, for example, because you see a lot of cases, even in the UK, America, people's life getting cut short over stupid things going on in society. That's what people are more afraid of, as opposed to them getting to 80, 90. Like, my granddad just passed, like, last year. It was cancer. I appreciate it. But he lived to, like, 90.
Yeah.
And although he kind of suffered in the last parts of his life, like, he lived a fulfilled life. He done a lot of things in his life, affected his community, looked after his kids, grandkids, do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying he thought he was ready to go, but it was his time, do you know what I mean? So I think he could sit there thinking he's lived a fulfilled life rather than it getting cut short at like 25, 30, 16, 13. You're seeing these things in the news all the time. That's what kind of makes me a bit more upset rather than someone that's 90 that's passed, do you know what I mean?
We're very loss-averse creatures. So we would rather not lose something than gain that particular thing. So if someone said to you, like, do this thing to get £100 versus do this thing to not lose £100, you're more likely to put more effort into not losing that thing because you already have it. I completely agree with your side here, where the reason, at least we're scared of dying early, because there's so much that we could do. But also, I do understand that when people get older, why they're still scared of dying is because maybe they haven't lived what it is that they wanted to live.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's partly to their own fault than anyone else's. Or like maybe life just happened and it got in the way and didn't let them do the things they wanted to do. But I think that is what people are mostly scared of, just having lived an unfulfilled life.
Okay.
Can I ask you something on the back of that as well? Because from what I see a lot of the time, a lot of people, early on they start chasing the wrong things. Like, it's different for everyone, for you, for me as well. But like, what do you think it is that people are like chasing, for example, whether it's like money, sometimes fame, success? Do you think it's they get to that stage where they're chasing that and then they get to maybe 40s, 50s, realize they should have prioritized other things like relationship, families, giving to society, health, things like that? What do you think? Do you think like people chase the wrong things and then they get to a stage where they're like, do you know what? I should have done this instead, or they don't feel fulfilled? Because I've seen a lot of people, even for career, they dive themselves into their career, trying to get all this money, and then they get to their point in their life where they just feel really lonely, and all the money and all the success doesn't really fill that void.
Yeah. This is something I've been thinking about a lot, and I do feel like as we get older, I think as we enter our like early mid 20s. There's a shift in what we prioritize in life. So as kids, we were prioritizing like fun and enjoyment. Yeah. And actually just enjoying the life experience.
Before taxes, innit?
Before we got taxes and bills to pay and stuff like that. And what I've noticed is like the priorities have changed, and now the main focus is constantly around like money, finances, basically trying to win the game of capitalism. And I've noticed, and I've been talking about this a lot on my videos, it's made me miserable. And it's just ruined the life experience. And I feel like what I worry about is that, because it's hard to not want to chase those things. Obviously, we live in a world where you need money and stuff like that. But what I worry about is like, at the end of the day, you're going to get to a point where maybe you get an illness or something like that. Eventually, we all die. And then it's like, what was the point? And I feel like that's what makes death so like bitter, or the idea of dying like bitter, because it's like, you question whether you made the right decisions or you chased the right things. I actually don't know where I was going with that. I just wanted to round it up.
I hear you. I hear what you mean, though. It's a lot of people think the same way, bro.
And just hustle culture as well. I just feel like I'm stressing about that. If you like this episode, we're going to be doing more things like this. We're going to be talking about like philosophical concepts, trying to apply them to modern day situations. If that's the kind of stuff you want to be seeing, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all of that stuff. Also, there's going to be a link in the description to a community I'm starting. It's a new online community where you guys can talk about conversations like this. Might even do live video calls as well. If that's something you're interested in, check that out as well.
I do think it's an unteachable lesson. So Chris Williamson has this really amazing idea about unteachable lessons. And these are in our stories, our poems, our life lessons that are passed on to us by our elders for decades, for centuries, they tell us the same thing again and again. Money won't make you happy. Your worries are a waste of time. You don't love that girl. She's just pretty and hard to get. These things we know are the wrong thing to chase. Yet we still have the urge to start driving towards them.
Yeah, that's real.
We think to ourselves, let me tiptoe through this minefield of mistakes and lessons, and
Yeah.
I won't get hit by it.
Facts.
But everyone else who has, they're not me.
Yeah.
I'm different.
Yeah.
And you tiptoe, and eventually you step on one. And you look up and you share a sharing look with the past lessons and the ancestors who looked down on you and told you these lessons, and the parents and the teachers. And you share this look thinking to yourself, maybe I should have listened.
Yeah.
Although with these unteachable lessons, which is why they're named these are things that can't be taught. They must be experienced. These are things you have to live through. These are things that you must gain empirical evidence for.
Yeah.
And then you can come to that conclusion, which then you're going to then tell other people about.
Yeah.
You should stop doing this thing. Don't chase the girl. Don't chase money. It won't make you happy. But no one's going to listen. And it's this perpetual, endless cycle, a perennial problem that every human face.
No, it's crazy because even as you're saying this now, I'm still thinking like, I still don't think it'll be me. Like, I still feel like every time I hear this, I'm like, I'm still gonna chase money to an extent, and I still want to find out what it's like to actually like have my idea of financial freedom and stuff like that. Because I just can't see how, you know how you have so many rich people saying like, oh, money doesn't buy you happiness, and once you buy everything you want, you don't care. Like, I still can't see how that wouldn't be a much better life than my situation now, where it's like I am constantly thinking about how I allocate my money, and I'm worrying about like, oh, I can't afford this, but I'd want that. And even if I get to a point where I can have everything I want and I'm bored, I just still feel like that's a much preferable situation.
I remember Biggie having, I think, a song or phrase like "more money, more problems." I think the problems just change. So I think once you go from being broke to being rich, yeah, like your problems just change. You don't get necessarily less or more problems. It depends on how you live your life. But let's say the problems you have when you're broke, you can't eat as much. You're sometimes hungry. You don't get to do things like in life. For example, you're miserable because you don't know if you're paying your next bill, for example, this and that. Many more problems, right? Then when you're rich, you have the problem of then reliability. Your friends start looking at you in a certain way if you're not supporting them. If you don't give them money, they might start to turn on you because they're like, oh, you're rich, you can help us. All of that. You get a lot of pressure from everyone. Then it's then sorting out what you're going to spend your money on now, because I don't believe money buys happiness. I believe it can give you moments, like when you buy that Ferrari or you buy that house, like your, I don't know if it's oxytocin or the dopamine or whatever hormone for like feeling good. Like you feel that for a second. There's so many people I've seen, they buy expensive cars, they get their house, and that feeling lasts. It's definitely there, but it's only for maybe a month or so, a couple months. Some people regret it the next day.
Yeah.
They do it for the feeling, and they chase financial freedom, and really they're chasing that dopamine. And then once the dopamine's gone, they're miserable in that mansion. That's why you kind of hear that a lot of the time. Whereas I'd rather have a smaller house with people filled in it, eating good food, talking, being merry, rather than just an empty mansion. You know what I mean?
I'm going to contend your point with a question.
Sure.
God forbid, say someone close in your life suffers a terrible illness, and you now have the money to solve that illness. Take them to the best hospital, get them the best doctors. Does that not make you happy?
It will, of course.
So then money in that case would make you happy.
In that case, because it's not spent on, I think I'm focusing more on like, I can't remember the word, but like consumerism things. Like in certain cases for like healthcare, because health is way more important than money, 100%. So that's why I agree with that. Like if you can have a miracle drug that cures cancer or cures any illness straight away, 100%, that's worth spending money on. And that's why a lot of rich people, they'll have that healthcare system, private doctors. That's what I do agree on. I'm focusing more on like the consumerism, capitalism, all of that, marketing, things like that, because those things chase temporary happiness, whereas health is way more important than money, because it's like you could have, if you knew you were getting £1 billion but you die in a week, the money doesn't seem as much. Yeah, you'll spend crazy and do whatever, maybe have the best week of your life, but you'd rather have the rest of your life rather than that billion for a year or a week or whatever it is.
Yeah. Now, this just remind me of a random question I just want to bring up now, because I feel like there's this idea that we all like to say like health is the most important thing. Like health is, what's that thing? Health is better than
Health is wealth.
Health is wealth. Stuff like that. But there's been times in my life I realized like I'm actually not trying to optimize for the healthiest lifestyle,
Right.
because I do think that would reduce my quality of life as well,
Really?
to an extent. And it sounds mad, but I just want to play around with this idea. Like, for example, a lot of us in society, we drink or we do some sort of vice that's probably unhealthy for us. And I used to struggle a lot with like, oh, I need to cut this out because it's unhealthy. I used to do a lot of research into like, okay, why do I still drink even though I know it's bad for me and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. And I saw certain answers that really resonated with me, talking about like, essentially this idea that at the end of the day, we're not here for, like, you know, this idea of we're here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah.
So to an extent, it's like, is optimizing for health, is that even the most ideal approach to life? Because sometimes I don't think that is. For example, if you wanted to have the healthiest lifestyle, there's potentially a lot of extra stuff you might have to do in your day-to-day, which a lot of us don't want to do. Like, let's just take drinking. Like, I think I got to a point where I sound like such an alcoholic, but I got to a point where I decided I'm not gonna try cutting out drinking completely anymore,
Right.
because I do see some value in the social aspects of like drinking with friends and just getting waved and falling off, being tipsy, because it's funny and it helps with like social interaction and bonding.
Yeah.
And I realized I didn't want to always be that person that's like, no, like not
Yeah,
for me,
yeah,
like I'm not
yeah.
drinking, because I have a lot of good positive memories that came from just saying yes and doing a reckless thing. And I feel like I wouldn't want to have gone throughout my whole life not having those memories. Maybe if it just gave me 10 extra years, and maybe because I live to 100 now because I was super healthy. So I don't know what you guys think of
Can I ask you a quick question with that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say from here on out, or if you knowing what you know now, if you had to restart, like let's say from 18 plus, your adulthood, but you knew you can never drink again or smoke again or do whatever again, yeah. Do you think you would have as much fun as you've had or could have with it?
Damn, that's a hard question to answer, because on one hand, the issue is that I had the taste of drinking.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then I used that to develop my relationship with fun and socializing. And I do always make this joke like, oh, I wish I never had that first drink. Or even with sex sometimes, because I feel like
Yeah.
sex causes a lot of problems in life as well. And I feel like, oh, if I never knew how good it was. Like sometimes I envy virgins, because it's like,
they don't have to think
I
about
do feel like it's a bit
yeah.
easier to have discipline in those areas if you've never tasted it once.
For sure.
But also knowing the amount of good times that have come with indulging in some of these things, it's hard to say like, no, I wouldn't want to like experience it, because I know it brought some like good experiences as well. I don't know. What's your answer to that?
It is a hard one. I think it depends what you're focusing on. Like for me, I do say, as I said, health as well. If I'm not gonna say I've never drank, I've never done any of that. Yeah, I think me personally, I think I could actually still have a lot of fun without drinking and without doing anything else. Yeah, because like I've been in so many situations where like I've had like a cleanse, or I've not done anything at all, and I've had a lot of fun because of the people I'm with. I'm not saying like scientifically you feel more confident, more happy when you drink, all of those things, but it just comes with side effects that in the long run sometimes isn't worth it. But then you look at it on the other side, you probably definitely seen grannies that smoke like 20 fags a day and they're like 90 and they look alright, you know what I mean? Like you know they're inside.
I want to see if I can make it as well. I had my fun, had my cake. And
yeah, I think it is hard because once you've had a taste of that and it's like, you know how it feels, you know how you feel in the moment, you sometimes feel that you can't make that naturally. But then sometimes it's like, is it manufactured fun? Is it like you're only having that amount of fun because you drank? Maybe the baseline is here, but then you start to crash to here once the drink is gone, whereas the baseline is lower for fun without having it, but it's a bit more stable, a bit more consistent, and you're not going to crash as heavy. So that's kind of my take on it. So I don't know if that answers the question.
Alcohol has zero health benefits. Zero.
Fact. You felt that one, didn't it?
yeah. I'm deep in that.
I get I get the urge to say it acts as a social lubricant.
Yeah.
It helps you build bonds. I would actually disagree with that. I don't think you build true emotional bonds with people when you're drinking. You both are intoxicated. You don't build a bond. That doesn't happen.
I don't know about.
Although, I would say that you are better off trying to become a more confident person
Yeah.
in reality and actualizing that rather than using alcohol as a crutch to gain that. And also, an interesting, like, you could say that you don't want to be the guy who's saying, no, I don't drink. But if you're surrounding yourself with people who do drink, you're going to have the desire to drink. It's just simply the people you're around.
Natural, yeah.
And I think if you do want to be that person who doesn't drink, then you're going to have to change a new friend group. Mm-hmm. And I think we're very quick to justify why I drink because of this particular reason in my life and because of this particular reason in my life, when you know inherently that it's bad.
Yeah.
And your justification here is that good memories, you get to build bonds and do stupid shit. And it's like, that's your justification for this bad thing, right? So Jonathan Haidt has this, again, really good idea, the elephant in the rider. And he describes this as the distinction between your emotional and rational mind, right? So if you imagine a man on top of an elephant, he has the reins. You'd assume this man is in control of the elephant. He can steer right, the elephant goes right. If he steers left, the elephant goes left. Although, if the elephant wanted to take them both to a river and drown them, it could do that.
You'd be done, yeah.
The elephant is your emotional mind. The rider is your rational mind. You think you're making decisions, but the elephant has chose that already. And you feel a certain way about something. Like in this case, good memories and drinking, right? This is your justification is the good memories and you do it with your friends and it's fun. But this is your emotion saying, I want to fit in. I want to stay in my friend group. I'm scared of change. So you've justified why you should keep drinking to avoid those feelings. And in this case, it may be, okay, say you do actually want to stop drinking, but you don't want to leave your friends. That is a paradox in itself. Those are two contrasting things. There's always going to be friction. You need to understand that if you want to stop drinking, you have to grow and change into a different friend group. There's this really cool illustration where there's two people who have flowers as their heads. And one person who has this pretty small flower is saying, you've changed, to the other one. And the other one has this big blooming flower coming out of his head. And he says, I should hope so.
Yeah.
And we're very scared of change because there's a lot of pain involved in that. You know, Charles Horton Cooley has this beautiful idea about the self-looking glass. He says, you see the reflection of yourself in the eyes of others. And when everyone around you shows that this is who you're supposed to be, it becomes incredibly difficult to step out of that personality, to step out of that identity into someone else, to change, to grow, to be something different. Because everyone around you is reinforcing the same thing. You go out, bro, just drink. It's one drink. It's just tonight. And you can get back to tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that repeats and that repeats and that repeats. And if you've had people around you for a long time and that's been reinforced again and again and again, you're going to be even more scared to change. So I think this is the problem that comes here. It's not that drinking should be given like this foot up and like this positive to it, and like you should drink. And like, I don't look down on people who drink, but I'm just letting you know that if you are aware of the negatives of it, the only reason you want to stay there is because you're too scared to change.
Yeah. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Check out our online Skool community. There's going to be a link in the description down below. Other than that, thanks for watching. No, what's crazy because I feel like you're younger than me, but I feel like you're a bit wiser than me.
How old are you, bro?
I'm 20.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
no,
crazy.
very mature for your age, bro.
I'm still gonna push back on that. Dude. I'm still gonna push back a little bit.
He's still
Go on,
bad,
go on,
bro.
No, I
Come
definitely
on.
get where you're coming from, and there have been many points in my life where like I've tried to. It sounds like I'm an alcoholic. I think I'm a.
No. Yeah.
There's been points in my life where I've like tried to stop, and basically what I want to touch on is I think we live in a generational society where now like self-improvement is very trendy. This idea of like conquering all your vices, becoming the perfect person, becoming super disciplined.
Wrong clubs.
Is wrong, wrong club. Like
Wrong
people want to go
clubs
to the
now,
club. People want to go to wrong club
crazy.
now. Like
Right.
everyone's trying to become perfect, optimize their life completely, and yeah, like I don't even want to like act like I'm super old and wise, but I remember at points when in my early 20s, I was always thinking about like, okay, what bad habit can I cut out, and yeah, just trying to do a lot of that. But one of the things that I've questioned as I get older is like, again, is like, to what extent is that actually gonna lead to the best quality of life? Like, because I feel like it's sort of it borderlines on issues with perfectionism.
Okay.
And I do think I found some peace in accepting like the limitations of being a human and the fact that we're not perfect. Well, I don't believe any human's perfect. And I believe there are like some things that we just do because we're just human and we make mistakes. And yeah, I think the main point I'm trying to get into is not even just about drinking. It could be anything. Like, I feel like social media especially has pushed on the next generation that you need to like overcome all like bad habits and stuff like that. It kind of links to hustle culture as well. You need to be super disciplined. You need to start a business. You need to do whatever it takes to like succeed in that. Like, there's a lot of things that social media is always telling us we need to do this. We should do that. But I just feel like the more I've leaned into that, the unhappier I've been in the process. Like, even you made a point about how like you might have to like cut out your friends and stuff like that. And I feel like there's a lot of good habits where it leads to you having to cut out your friends.
Yeah.
And this is very like prevalent in hustle culture as well, where it's like you need to be so disciplined and locked in with your goals. If you have to cut out friends, like spend less time with family, stuff like that, that has to go. You have to make the hard choices, the hard sacrifices. But it got to a point where I started questioning, well, what's the point of me even trying to become this perfect person if the life I create in that pursuit is not even intrinsically enjoyable? Like, if I have to miss out on this and that and I can't be with
Yeah, I got you.
like certain friends and stuff like that. And it made me question, like, what's the point? Because originally I started this journey of trying to improve myself to have a more enjoyable life. But in the process of doing that, my life was becoming less enjoyable. So it just makes me question to what extent I actually want to always improve.